In this video, we talk about the last episode of this season. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and I could not believe that they could top the previous 3 episodes of the series with this one. But in the finale of this season's Strange New Worlds, it is once again a edge-of-your-seat type of story and well acted by everyone. We finally give Pike a chance to shine. Up till now, he has always been key to the plot, but usually more in the background as they feature their other characters with things like Uhura and Spock and Mbenga and Chapel and Number One. But this particular time, we have first of all, we give Erica something to do as a pilot. We get to see some of her skills directly in. We've seen some of it in the previews for this, but also we see what Pike does also in the face of opposition by Starfleet Command. Starfleet Command, it seems, throughout the entire history of Star Trek is always just one step behind of where they ought to be, and it's up to the captains always to make the big decisions as to whether to obey orders, to try to obey orders, or to say, you don't make any sense, you're not here, you don't know what's going on, we're going to take care of this and let the chips fall where they may. And Pike is in character somewhere between Kirk and Picard. And so perhaps he's not going to completely obey orders, but he's not going to completely disobey them either. And that's where the nuance comes in here. They think of some creative ways in the ready room of how to make things work. Pike has some tricks up his sleeve. Spock and Uhura have their own ideas. They work with Pelia. We have also Number One being the very good coordinator of everything that's going on. On the planet's surface, of course, Captain Pike and his newly reconciled girlfriend, the captain of the Cayuga, is a different dynamic here, since they're both on duty and they both have a job to do and not going to let the other one get the upper hand. Also, we have an introduction of a legacy character, Montgomery Scott, here as a Lieutenant JG. We won't give away too much of what he's done, but we find through the course of the episode that there is a reason that his style became so useful in the later, that is to say, earlier episodes in the original series. Scotty was not a traditional engineer, but one who went far out of the range of what normally would be considered possible, and is able to think differently, let's just say. But it looks like there may be some more backstory to that. Now, we don't know if he's going to make it to the Enterprise to stay there or to go somewhere else before he is later united with James Kirk. But it's interesting that they bring him in at this time, and he plays an integral part in the story. I like the fact that instead of being another war thing, which is kind of what I expected, this is more of a rescue kind of thing that's going on in the midst of a Borg occupation. And in doing so, they have to be very careful. They can't just fight the war like they did in a couple of episodes ago against the Klingons. This is something that they have to nuance a little bit. And the way they do it is very compelling and very believable, really. And I think everybody gets kudos on this. Once again, the subtlety of the acting, the tightness of the writing, and the way that they use the Gorn. We've not really seen the adult Gorn until this episode, and they're more believable than the little lizards that are running along the floor. That doesn't seem like the Gorn. Those were the youngling. They're not the adults that are actually building the ships and things like that. And so it makes it a little more believable along that line as well. So with that, we have a way to go into the next season, knowing that there's going to be more ins and outs with the Gorn, but don't know exactly how they're going to make it fit canon, since Kirk did not know anything about the Gorn, or presumably didn't. They certainly were not a major enemy or frenemy or participant in the original series, so we'll have to see just how they resolve this within canon, and they've been pretty good about that up to now, and how also that we're going to get our friends out, and how many of our friends we're going to be able to get out. That's where it stands right now. So I love this episode. I think that it bears repeated viewing just to get some of the subtleties out, and the set design was very nice. The special effects were great. I believed it all the way through. So I recommend it to you if you haven't seen it already. And if you have seen it already, I recommend that you watch it again, because it's going to be the last first-run live-action Star Trek for probably the rest of the year. Even if the strike is settled today, it's not going to allow production of anything for quite some time. So we may be seeing some more Doctor Who before we see any more Star Trek, other than Lower Decks, which will be coming on the 7th of September, which we, of course, will cover. As I've said, we're going to be covering Babylon 5 in this spot beginning next week, and I hope that you will tune in for that. Of course, our retro reviews of the original series and Deep Space Nine are on Tuesday and Wednesday, so we recommend that you stay with us and subscribe to the channel if you will. Please click a like. We've been getting a lot of likes, and I thank you for that. We've had a number of complimentary comments, and that it warms my heart to hear. And but also, I'd like to hear just what your opinions are on this series, this episode, this season, and we'll talk about that in the forums. So until next time we meet, don't go far.